So in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use CSS, particularly flexbox, to align this. And then I'm going to just touch upon some accessibility issues with how this is right now. Okay, so I'm going to put this inside of a container div. There we go. And then what I'll do next is probably create a class name called container here, container body, whatever, container card. Let's save it, and then in the CSS, in the CSS here, I'm going to create this. I'm gonna create alright, so we're gonna say display flex. That's gonna display it for us as a flex box, you see, but that's not what we want at all, but that's a start. Next we will say flex direction is by default row. I'm just gonna put rows just to show you. Justify contents, I want it to be center. Align items up and down. This is the non axis direction, center. I want it to wrap as well, flex wrap. There we go, beautiful. So it wraps, justified. It's amazing. The power of flexbox. There we go. It's a little lagging, but that's good. All right, so that's the flexbox there. So the next thing I want to just talk about is accessibility. So this is fine, but there are some minor issues with it, and I see this a lot with even experienced UI developers. So the first thing is you go back to our index. We call app. You go to our app. This is wrapped around a div. Fine. The div here is COVID. Fine. And then when we go to COVID, it's all divs. When you use a screen reader, the screen reader doesn't know where the main section is. What is main? What is the main landmark to the screen reader? So what usually we can make this the main landmark, but in this case I'm going to make the container that wraps the card as the main landmark. But we also have an H1 here, so actually let's make this the main landmark. We're going to change this to main. We can do that. That's nothing wrong with that. And then we can wrap this around the section, or we can even put this in a section. Make this the section inside the main. Again, these are some easy accessibility pointers that you should be able to do. And then save it. You can see an effect here, but when you use a screen reader, the screen reader will know that this is the main landmark, and it can separate it from what is the navigation landmark as opposed to the main. And every single page must have an H1. Every page must have an H1. If we had 6 different screens here, each screen must have an H1. And you cannot have more than one H1 per page. So if you look at card data, let's go to card. We have another H1 here. This is wrong. So there's 2 H1s here. This and this. This is very confusing to the screen reader. So we're going to make this an H2. Also, you cannot jump headers. You can go from H1, H2, H3. You have to go number by number for the screen reader. Alright, so that's good. So we have H1 and H2. And then we define the main. So this looks good. This is H2 now. Alright, so this is good. So we touched upon accessibility, we touched upon the headers and the section. In the next video we would limit this to only 3 cards, and then we'll add a button to show that.